12 ships, 600 men, one king trying to get home. By the time this story is over, every one of those ships will be gone, and the king will wash up on his own shore alone, with nothing. This is the Odyssey. Almost everyone remembers how it ends. Far fewer remember how the disaster begins. Not with a monster, not with an angry god, but with a victory that went to their heads, on a beach most people have never heard of. Today, the forgotten first chapter of the most famous voyage ever told, and the key to everything that follows. The Trojan War is finally over. Troy has fallen, partly thanks to a wooden horse that was his idea. Right now, he is at the absolute peak of his fame, the cleverest man in the Greek world, sailing home a hero, 12 ships behind him. Ithaca is maybe 2 weeks west. He is, in theory, almost home, but the sea has other plans. The wind drags his fleet north to the coast of Thrace and a city called Ismarus, home to a people called the Cicones. And here's the first detail most retellings skip. The Cicones were real, not a myth, not a metaphor. An actual Thracian people on the northern edge of the Aegean. They even appear in the Iliad, fighting on the side of Troy. So when Odysseus lands on their shore, he doesn't see innocent strangers. He sees the enemy. In his mind, the war isn't over. And that one assumption is where everything starts to go wrong. Odysseus and his men storm the city, overwhelm its defenders, and split the wealth among the crews, so that, as Homer puts it, no man would leave without an equal share. To us, this is horrifying. To a Bronze Age army, it was simply how a war ended. Plunder was the paycheck. By their rules, this was a win. But in the middle of the sack, Odysseus does one thing that will matter more than he can possibly know. He spares a man, Maron, a priest of Apollo, living in a sacred grove. Maybe it's superstition, you don't want to anger a god. Maybe it's calculation. Either way, the grateful priest loads him with treasure, gold, a silver mixing bowl, and 12 jars of an extraordinary wine. This wine was dark, sweet, and so strong that 1 cup had to be cut with 20 cups of water before you could drink it. Hold on to it. Because a few islands from now, in a pitch-black cave, that exact wine is going to be the only thing standing between Odysseus and a very hungry Cyclops. Homer is planting a seed here that won't bloom for 2 more chapters. With the city emptied, Odysseus gives one clear, smart order. Back to the ships, leave now, while we're ahead. And his men don't. Drunk on victory and on the Cicones' own wine, they refuse to go. They haul the animals down to the beach, light their fires, and settle in to feast. Why leave, they figure, with this much meat and wine and plunder right here? It is the most human mistake in the world, and it is the first crack in something that will eventually swallow the entire crew. Because once you watch the whole Odyssey, you start to see a shape. Again and again, Odysseus gives good advice, and again, his men ignore it and pay for it. A bag of winds they'll tear open out of greed, sacred cattle they'll slaughter out of hunger. It's always the same story. And it begins right here, on this beach, at a party that should never have happened. Because while the Greeks are eating, the Cicones who got away are not sitting still. They run inland to their kinsmen, the Cicones of the interior. And these are a different kind of enemy, more numerous and far more dangerous. Men trained to fight from chariots, and, when they had to, on foot. At dawn, they come. Homer reaches for an image to capture their numbers, as many, he says, as the leaves and the flowers of spring. The raiders are now the outnumbered ones. The hunters have become the hunted. The two sides slam together beside the ships, and for a while, through the whole morning as the daylight grew, the Greeks actually hold. They're badly outnumbered, but they are veterans of 10 years at Troy, and they do not break. But morning doesn't last. As the sun begins to fall, the Cicones surge, the Greek line finally cracks, and the men who came to plunder are running for the water. They make it. They drive the ships off the sand and pull for open sea. But the price is exact, and Homer counts it for us. From every single one of the 12 ships, 6 men are dead, 72 in all, killed not by a god, not by a monster, but by a feast, by a refusal to listen. And there's one last detail I love, because it's so painfully human. As they row away, they don't leave in silence. For each fallen man, they call his name aloud, 3 times, into the wind, before they let the sea carry him off. They sail on, alive but lessened, and not for the last time. So why does this small, half-forgotten episode open the wanderings of Odysseus? Why does Homer put it first? Because it's the thesis statement of the entire poem. The Iliad, the story before this one, was about glory, about winning, about being the strongest man on the field. And the Odyssey opens by taking that exact mindset. Storm the city, grab the loot, feast on the beach, and quietly showing you where it leads. To empty benches, to names shouted into the wind. Because the Odyssey isn't a story about being strong, it's a story about getting home. And it opens by warning you that the old rules, the Iliad rules, will not get you there. The Cicones are that lesson in miniature before a single monster appears. Everything after this, the Cyclops, the witch, the whirlpool, is really just the universe teaching Odysseus the same lesson, the hard way, over and over, until he is the only man left alive to learn it. From this beach, the surviving ship sails straight into a storm that blows them clean off the map, toward an island where something very large and very hungry is waiting in a cave. And Odysseus is about to discover exactly what that jar of wine is for. That's the next chapter. If you want to follow the whole voyage from here, every island, every monster, all the way home, subscribe.